World here. I'll come at you with a video real quick. I know this is like my third one I posted today. Well, tonight actually, this morning. But I really want to come at you with this one. There's a couple reasons, but I'll explain as we get into this. Before we get into that, though, I did post that second video I posted is part of the playlist where I'm, just trying to give everybody a basic understanding of some basic space weather vocabulary, what we usually talk about. This current one, because of the current situation here on the sun with the sunspot, I made a short little video. It's like 3 minutes long, guys. It's not very long, but it's just a really brief explanation of what a sunspot is and some of the things that they can cause. Or at least increase the chances of. That's what that video is about, if you guys are wondering. And those of you guys are wondering, I actually had it up for 5 minutes, and I pulled it back down. I had to redo it a little bit because I'd cropped that first one just a little bit too much, and it was cutting off some of the picture. But anyway, I reported on this a little bit earlier. This is stereo A, so let me get my draw tool out. Sorry about that, guys. If you want to, just to give you guys perspective of what we're looking at, again, this is stereo A, so the Earth would be basically kind of like right here, the satellite's here, and it's looking at the sun. So if we were to step outside, this satellite here would be off to our left if we're looking at it, and that's on the day side of Earth, facing the sun, all right? So anything we see on this particular tool here, this is stereo A, and it's in Earth's orbit out here. Okay, it orbits the sun in almost the exact same orbit that the Earth does, but it trails behind us if we're talking about that, or ahead, depending on what direction you're wanting to talk here. But they call it stereo ahead. That's why it's called stereo A. It's kind of flip-flopped when we're talking about directions in space. If you're talking about the sun, believe it or not, guys, the left sun they call the east limb. It is reversed. It's just about how your perspective is what that's about. But anyway, what you're seeing is, the start of a CME. Okay, this is not a solar flare. This is moving way too slow to be a solar flare. It looks to be like this thing could be a half of a halo, if not a full. And you'll see what I mean here in just a second. And it looks like this thing is blowing directly off the back. Okay? It's not going to the left or to the right, so it's going the exact opposite of us, which in theory is a great thing. But I just told you guys in my previous video that anything that's happening, no matter where it's at on the sun, we're all connected in some way magnetically. All right? So anytime any of those lines are crossed and all that, it can affect us. But typically these things, when they fire off the back, they're not going to be any threat to us. Okay? But here's the other thing I want to bring up. I've observed this many, many times, and I've mentioned it many times, that a lot of the time, especially with a bigger CME, one that fires off over here, within 12, 16, sometimes even 24, it takes that long, we'll have another CME that goes off almost directly 180 from it. Okay, so with that being said, that would be directly Earth facing. That would be coming at us if that was to happen. I'm not saying that's happening right now because I'm not seeing anything that would tell me that. Now, what I'm talking about, my observation here about the 180 thing, it's roughly about 75 to 80% of the time that I've noticed when we have a CME, we usually have either a smaller one or one of about the same size that pops off directly the opposite direction. Okay? It doesn't happen every time, but it does happen more than not. Okay? And again, it could be a very small one. Nobody knows the strength of any of this stuff or how it's going to come off, right? So basically what I'm saying is, guys, we need to pay attention closely the next day or so here to see if something does come off this direction. And again, I'm not seeing anything that's going to tell me that it is right now. But, you know, with that observation that I've made many times before, along with a lot of other people. And again, I'm not sure if there's any science behind that. But man, there should be, because I really, you know, I've shown it to you guys multiple times that happens. And usually it is a smaller one that comes off the other direction. But that does happen. So that would put, you know, Earth is over here, guys. So that would put us right in that crosshair of the possible CME coming at us. And again, guys, it's probably going to be smaller if it does happen. It may not happen at all. You know, in my opinion, there's about a 25 to 30% chance that it won't happen even at all. So it's actually, you know, it's not, that is what it is, you know. It's not more than half. It's actually more than half. But, yeah. So you can see, and we're going to stop this at the end of the time lapse here. Okay, so I'm going to back that up so we can see it. Now, again, you guys, that's the beginning. All right? It's just now coming off the sun. Now, I showed it to you guys a few hours ago, and it was just barely peeking out. I caught the brightness basically over here of this one. It started getting brighter, and it looked like something was coming off the sun. And we went and looked at SDO, we went and looked at all those things, and we didn't see anything. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over here to, let's just back this up a little bit, and we'll go to LASCO C2, which is from our view. And, well, let's do this first, okay? This is the one I showed you guys previously. Now, you see that big bright light? That was about 24 hours before this one just happened. So, you know, that didn't have much or nothing to do with it. Okay? But at the end of this, if you watch, you see in those jets, okay? Let me, daggone, man. Stop, you idiots. Anyway, do you see this? That right there is probably part of it. Okay, now I know it looks like it's going directly to the left, but if you guys remember my stuff about, you know, the perspective of us looking, anything that's coming off of that half of the sun is going to look like it's going directly to the left. It could be going this way. It could be going this way. But it's always going to look like it's going directly to the left. Okay? But that's not what that energy right there is doing. I truly think that that's part of that CME, and it's blowing off almost directly this way. But this one is large enough, and I'll show it to you here in a minute. It looks almost like a half of a halo, if not bigger, is getting ready to fly off the sun on the backside. If that's the case, we just dodged a pretty good bullet. All right? Just letting you know that straight up. Because if we catch a full-blown halo-size CME coming our direction right now with our magnetic field being weak as it is, we wouldn't want to see any of that, just to let you know. Because we're talking some, you know, some issues, most likely. At the very least, radio blackouts and stuff like that. You know, geomagnetic storm levels would go up. We would definitely see some humongous auroras. But, you know, this one is going off the backside. But we have to pay attention, because I do think that, you know, like I said, about 70% of the time, another one comes off the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next day here. We only got a few captures here. Now, this is why I stopped and did this video. I was actually getting ready to go lay down and go to bed, guys. And I seen this, and I was like, man, I better say something to these guys about this. Because if you look, and I'm going to stop it at right there. That's actually pretty good. You can see. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is going off the back side. So none of this is going to the left or to the right. It's going directly off the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out here because you can see it a little bit better. But you can see the haze of this energy kind of stretching all the way like this. Okay, that's almost a full-blown halo-sized explosion off of the sun. A full-blown halo is exactly what you guys think it would be. It would be like this. Okay, and as this one keeps on going out, it may turn into a full-blown halo. If that's, like I said, that's one of the bigger CMEs that I've seen in a very long time. And I haven't even seen the whole thing yet. But I can tell you with confidence right now, just judging by this. Okay? Just judging by that, I can tell you that it's very sizable. Alright? Now, size doesn't always equal power either. Okay? So, if something like that was to come at us, yes, we should be concerned a little bit. But, we just don't know how powerful they are when they come off. Now, typically, those ones of those size, historically, are pretty powerful things. Okay? For the sun to explode out like that, the reason it is so big is because it was a large explosion. So, you guys take that for whatever that's worth. But, and this is why I pay attention to all of it. I could have just breezed right by that thing, well, I'll show it to you again. I could have just breezed right by this and thought nothing more of it. And just kept on going. Well, it's going off the backside. It don't mean nothing. And I know I said I wasn't going to talk about that anymore, but man, right after I talk about something like that, this happens. So, this right here is just more and more proof that shows that we got to pay attention to all sides of the sun. I'm tired of trying to sugarcoat any of that. And I'm not going to, because I do think it's important. Not only do we have a big sunspot right in front of us right now we're having bigger CMEs blow off the backside. So with us having a sunspot on our side, plus what I just told you about a lot of times we get a secondary flare directly the opposite way. That really does increase the chances, okay, of us having one come in our direction. Now, as of right now, there's nothing coming our direction. I want to make that very, very clear. Okay, but this one here is something that we are going to be thankful did not come at us. Especially right now. Because this, we don't know exactly what would happen if we got hit with a very powerful CME, why our magnetic field is weakened like it is. We've taken a couple hits, okay? Back in 2017, there was a pretty big one that blew off that was, kind of dodged a bullet there too. So these are the ones, and I don't know exactly how big this one is yet, guys. We got to wait for the data to come in. I usually don't pop out here and talk about this until the data does come in. But I can say with confidence that just judging by this alone, is telling me that is a big CME. And I guarantee you by the time morning gets here, well, already is, but later on this morning, by the time everybody else watches this, they're going to be seeing a little bit more than what I'm seeing right here, and I guarantee you they're going to be talking about it. If they don't, I wouldn't understand why. You can even see, if you even look off here, you can see this, okay? Now, I know I said we can't really see things directional, but that's tied right into all of that other stuff. So it's actually, if you really back this thing off and you really slowed this thing down and looked at it, even with filters or whatever, I bet you would see energy coming all the way down here. And even there on the end, it caught something. See, look at that. See, that I didn't even catch that until just now. Let me show you this. Let's see if I can't stop it. Okay, now I want you guys to look here. I'm going to back that up to that one. Okay, look at that. This tool picked up energy way out here, like it was a CME. My guess is what happened there is that the initial flash, which could have even been a flare, okay, is what this caught right here. Okay. And then subsequently, the CME kept moving after that. And, you've seen Well, let's just go to the next capture here. And then, you know, a few frames later, you started to see that halo. See it coming out? You guys can see that pretty well, the white right here. And this is part of it too, probably. Okay? So if you look right there, you'll be able to see the white. And you see how it's starting to form that, what we call a halo signature. See how bright it got right there? Guys, keep in mind, like I said a minute ago, that's on the backside of the sun. That should tell you how powerful that thing was. It's not even facing us. It's going the opposite direction. Okay? Now, again, look at that. It picked it up there. Picked it up there. Now, okay, guys, and look, check this out. I know somebody's probably going to say something about that. That's like a triangle. Anyway, I'm not going to go there. I'm not even going to talk about that right now, because that definitely could even be another I guarantee you somebody will catch that and start talking about that. Not me, though. You know, anyway, you can keep going forward here. I'm not laughing because I think that couldn't be something. I'm just laughing because I know that somebody else is going to make a video on it. Not to mention that energy just seemed to be, I mean, if you look at that particular capture right there. Okay, you see how bright it is on the left? Now let me back up one frame. Okay, you see how it's starting to get dim? 2 frames, and look how dim it is. So it gets that bright that quick. And again, you know, we don't have all the data right now, and we won't. You know, so again, guys, that is, again, I'm kind of flabbergasted by this one because I do think it is going to be a big one. It looks big. Okay, this is bigger than any of the ones we've seen this year. That's one thing I would say, at least judging by this so far. Even those bigger ones we've seen, because if you remember, the ones that come off of the sun, let me get my draw tool out again, that are coming off either to the left or to the right, you know, they start off kind of thin. And they end up kind of being like this, at their max. Okay? Well, let's take that back a little bit. It's probably a little wider than that. Probably more so like this. Okay? It's about as wide as we've seen this year. This one right here is at least twice, if not larger. Okay? So, yeah. I really do think that we're going to have to watch what's going to happen here in the next day or so to see if we have that second CME pop off the other direction. And that's, like I said, that's the reason why I'm doing this video. So, okay, guys, I got you back over here at SDO. Okay, I wanted to show it to you over here too. Okay, now remember, this is that sunspot that's, you know, becoming almost right in front of us right now. Now it's really not doing a whole lot right now. It was flaring a little bit, you know, not nothing, you know, like a B, high B class, maybe a small C class flare, but nothing really to write home about. But we did see this, and I showed this to you earlier. Now, that right there is not part of that initial CME, I don't think. Okay, because it happened way before we seen any of that. Now, we got to keep in mind what we were seeing was around the edge of the occulter. Okay, so the sun isn't that dark line I showed you guys, that dark circle. That ain't the surface of the sun. It's smaller than that. Okay, so this could be part of what we're seeing there. I'm not saying that it is, but it very well could be. Now, if you watch, you can see this energy here kind of blend into this part too. Okay, you see how those kind of become one? Now, we can't see this by perspective again. Okay, so we don't know what's actually on the other side here because stereo A can't even see it. It's further even than that. Okay, it's further even than our side view. We might be able to catch a small glimpse of it, but I am going to take you guys over to stereo A, and I'm going to show you Comet Atlas as it's leaving here in just a second. But it did. And that might give us a better perspective. So we'll go take a look at that real quick. Okay, guys, I got you. This is over at stereo A, okay? This is what Sechi, okay? I used to take you guys to Sechi all the time. But to let you get, that site's pretty much non-existent now. It's been down for almost a year, so I've kind of written it off. But this is the same view, And what we're going to look at here, guys, the sun is here. Okay? And again, the satellite's looking at the sun from the side. Now, what we're going to look at, we're going to see Comet Atlas basically leave. Now, it did not get ate up by the sun. There was a lot of speculation if that was going to happen. But if this is Comet Atlas, it did not dive into the sun. It looks like it made it. It looks like it might have made it past the, the ecliptic of the sun. Looks like it's going to be traveling south of the sun and going into its whatever orbit. Now, I don't know how much it's going to break up. It could break up enough. I don't know. It may not make it back, but we're not going to be alive to see it if it does. Be thousands, hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of years, but be a very long time. So, be like, I think, what did they say? Did they say like a 6,000 year orbit or something? It was something like that. So, in other words, we'll never see it again. But we'll see some more Comet Atlases. But this numbered one, whatever Atlas, whatever number, the one we've been talking about now for months, it's going to be exiting, and it is right now. So what I'll do is I'll zoom in and we'll take a look at it. Right there it is. In case you guys are wondering. Okay. Now, I know it doesn't look too impressive right here, but you got to keep in consideration how far away this is. So that's actually fairly large. Be a large thing. And to give you guys an idea, this here is a planet. Okay. So, again, we don't know how far away that actually is, Comet Atlas. We could do some math and try to figure it out because they do know its orbital path and all that. But for me, it's not that important right here because it's not really going to do much. But it is definitely there. It's leaving. At least to me, it doesn't look like it's going to dive into the sun. If it does, man, it'd have to take one heck of a reverse direction. It most certainly looks like it's going to keep right on moving. And this is that latest capture we got there is on the 4th. We can't go any further. It won't let us. We don't have any more data than that. We might see some here on the. Yeah, we can see some on the 5th. So right around the 6th, I think this thing kind of exited the view of this particular camera. And yeah, so there's 6-1. So yeah, so that's what it did. There it is again. Okay. I could take you back and go all the way back into May, and we could see it. We've seen it come in here, and we've seen it do its travel all the way across the view of this camera. So there it is right there. Now, again, guys, we can't see the CME because it's the other side of the sun. We don't have anything over there to look. At least anything that we're allowed to see. Parker SP sometimes is over that direction. So I know that they're getting pictures of the backside of the sun. They can't tell me that they're not because, yeah, I wish we could see some of those. But you know we're not going to get to. I guarantee you that. Stereo B is still out there. They say it don't give us any data or any usable data, but they still plot its position and all that. So it makes you wonder. There's a lot of Scott and a lot of other people were catching a lot of stuff on that particular satellite for a very long time. And, the story behind that is crazy in itself, so we won't touch that right now. But, yeah. So there's Comet Atlas. You can say goodbye to it. Okay, guys, I am going to end it here. I'll try to keep you guys updated as much as I can. I do have to work today, so... But you can clearly see that there's energy leaving the sun big time on the backside. I do think that it's kind of almost like this size. It's almost a full halo. That's what it looks like. So we'll have to wait and see how big it actually ends up being. But it most certainly is putting off a lot of energy there. So we'll look at it on stereo A one more time here before I let you guys go. And just so you guys get an idea. I wish we could have got a side view of it. There's really nothing there to see on those extreme ultraviolet captures that we get to see. The 171, the 193, and all that angstrom. They have those on stereo A too, not just on Soho. So, it'd be nice to be able to see what's on that. We just don't have those don't update. They're on a lag. So it's like a day or two lag, so we won't get to see that for a couple days. at least anything worth seeing. So as you can tell, guys, watch it right here. You can see where it's going to be big. This is just the beginning of it. So we will keep an eye on it, and I'll try to keep you guys posted. God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.